Hey everyone, Keifi here, and welcome back to Keifi's Corner, where today I'm going to continue reviewing every amiibo ever, and we will start with the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate line, the first 3 rows, from Mario to Diddy Kong and everything in between. Now, I have a feeling I should mention just before we start that this is based on their looks and their aesthetics, not in how the character actually fights in the game. So with that, just sit back and enjoy. Let us begin with Mario. He's got his classic blue jumpsuit. He's got a fireball that's extending from his hand, which is glued in, and it doesn't show any signs of coming off, so I like that. He's got his classic Mario cap with the nice M on it. His white gloves. All in all, what else could they have done to really showcase that this is Smash Mario ready for action? Not much. I think he gets an A. Next up, we have Donkey Kong. Now, I like the way his fist is raised up in the air like he's about to punch someone. That's pretty cool. His tie is kind of flowing in the wind, so that's a pretty nice feature as well. I'm not too big of a fan of the Amiibo stand, however. I feel like that they could have added a barrel or a banana tree or something for him to sit on, but that's okay. Other than that, he's got a decent amount of detail on his fur and his hair, so that's pretty cool. I think he's worth a B, all in all. Not a bad Amiibo. Next up, we have Link. And oh my, where to begin on this Amiibo? For starters, he's got the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield, so I mean, that's great. But look closely at the stand. It is a very disturbing yellow color. I'm really not sure why they had to include that. It looks like they're trying to do his spin attack, but it's not really showcasing it off effectively. In my opinion, the shield and the sword are really the only thing going for him. It's not that great of an Amiibo. I'd give it a D. Next up, we have Samus from the Metroid series. She's got her blaster cannon on the one side. She's wearing her helmet. On the back, she's got her jetpack. And it almost looks like her boots are kind of like a high-heeled armored boot, which is kind of cool. Other than that, she's pretty standard though. I would give her a B overall. Dark Samus, on the other hand, is a little bit cooler. The glossy finish on this is just, well, it's worth an A, just the finish alone on it. She's got her blaster cannon, her nice typical helmet, and look at the spikes. Those spikes look like they can poke your eye out in real life, and actually they probably could. Other than that, I'm not a big fan of the Amiibo stand, but I think the rest of the actual Amiibo makes up for that. I would give it an A overall. I like it. Next up, we have Yoshi. I'm not a huge fan of how Yoshi's looking in the opposite direction of the way that the rest of his body is. It seems a bit weird. He's got his tail. His tail looks nice, though. He's got his nice eyes, and he still looks pretty cute. But overall, he's just the typical average dinosaur, and I would say he's worth a C. Speaking of typical and average, here's the Kirby Amiibo. Now, I'm a Kirby main. I've mained Kirby since the 64, so please don't hate me for it, but I don't think this Amiibo is anything special. Kirby's not doing its down and B rock smash attack, not doing its taunt like it's hi. It just doesn't seem like this Amiibo is doing anything other than trying to be cute. I would give it a C. Next up, we have the Fox Amiibo. I do have to say, I kind of like this Amiibo. He looks like he's in the middle of a dash attack. He does have a small Amiibo stand, but it doesn't seem to take away from it any. And it's colored blue, which I actually like. He's got his gloves He's got his nice fox outfit that he's wearing. Looks like he's got a little scarf. And he's got his gun in the back. Overall, I like this Amiibo. I was going to give it a B, but you know what? I think he's definitely worth an A. Next up, we have the Pikachu Amiibo, which is another Amiibo that seems to try to get away with exclusively just being cute. But I think it succeeds. Like, its cheeks are pretty cute. I like its ears. Other than that, its tail is pretty cool, but it's pretty standard, but cute at the same time. I think it's worth a B. Next up, we have Luigi. Now, I can see what they're going for in this Amiibo, but I don't think they really pull it off. It looks like he's in the middle of his one kind of planking attack, which is cool, but he does have that Amiibo stand, which is pretty prominent. It looks like he's kind of falling over if you don't really know about his attack. He does have a nice nose, and his mustache is cool, but overall, I don't think I can in good conscience give him more than a C. Next up, we have the Nes Amiibo. This Amiibo's pretty standard, but there's really nothing wrong with him. I like his cap, I like how he's pointing, I like his eyes, I like his backpack at the back. Yeah, what else could they have done to showcase Nes? Not a whole lot. That's a B. Captain Falcon is another Amiibo where I can see what they're going for, but I don't really think they succeed. It looks like he's in the middle of doing his Falcon kick, but his Amiibo stand is so long and so tall that it looks like it takes away from the rest of the Amiibo because all you can see is the stand. His outfit is pretty nice, but there's not much to him other than the gigantic Amiibo stand. I'd say he's worth a C. Yeah. Jigglypuff is the next Amiibo that we have. And, well, if I made Kirby and gave it a C, I think you know what I'm gonna give Jigglypuff. Also a C. I mean, its eyes are pretty cute, but really, what else is there? It's just a round ball. It's just Jigglypuff. It would have been cool if they could have got her to sing or something, but nope. So yeah, that gets a C. Next up, we have the Princess Peach Amiibo. And oh my, where to begin? First of all, she's made of a pretty cheap type of plastic. You can't apply any pressure on her because it looks like, well, her arm's about to fall off, her dress would cave in. And speaking of her dress, you can actually kind of see up inside. Like, why would they not include clothing on Princess Peach? It seems like this was poorly designed in less than an afternoon. I don't really know what they were thinking. This gets a D. D for just disappointing. The next Amiibo we have is Princess Daisy. And every criticism that I just gave to Princess Peach can also be applied. Her hand feels like it'll break off any second. Her dress is still made of a cheap plastic. I do feel like they learned from Peach slightly and added a few layers so it's not as breakable. But other than that, you can still see inside underneath. Not wearing any garments. I'm confused. It doesn't seem like too much was learned from Peach, and it's still pretty bad. It gets a C. Up next, we have Bowser. Now, Bowser actually looks pretty menacing. I like the details put into him. Everything down to his spikes, which also look like they can poke your eyes out. His claws look like they can grab you at any second, and his facial expression is done nicely. And he's also pretty hefty. He's got some nice size to him. He's definitely an A. I like Bowser. Next up, we have Ice Climbers. and I do have to say I'm pretty impressed. If you look closely at the wood on Ice Climbers, it looks like an actual tree, in which you can see the rings and tell that the tree has aged quite a bit. On the back, you can see its ice shooting up like an attack, and overall, the Ice Climbers look pretty cute, and they got a nice blushing facial expression. I don't know what else could have been added. I don't even play Ice Climbers, like, at all, but I'm impressed with this amiibo. This gets an S. Next up, we have Sheik, who debuted in Ocarina of Time. I like Sheik's cap, and I do like how the hair flows in the back. At the same time, it looks a little breakable, so I'm not a huge fan of that. You can see the Sheik eye on her chest, but it also has an amiibo stand here, and I'm not a big fan of that. But at the same time, you can tell that it's Sheik, and it's standard. There's nothing wrong with it, really. So I think it gets a B. Next up, we have Princess Zelda, and I do have to say, she's a bit of an improvement on the two other princesses we've seen so far. I do like the fact that you can see all the designs, like the Hylian crests and stuff, on the front of her, and if you turn her around, she's still got some designs on the rest of her dress. And fortunately, she's wearing boots, so you don't have to worry about garments like the other ones. Overall, she's a pretty good amiibo, and I would give her a B. Next up, we have Dr. Mario, who, to be honest, I rarely play in Smash, but I like this amiibo. I like how he's lined up in his doctor equipment, his nice stethoscope hanging from his neck, which you can still see in the back, like you can see it hanging on around his neck. And he's got the pill that he's just ready to chuck at you at a moment's notice. He definitely looks like Smash Dr. Mario, ready for action. So, yeah, I think he gets an A. Next up, we have Pichu, the pre-evolved form of Pikachu. I do have to say, this amiibo looks pretty cute. I like how its ears are kind of proportioned just differently enough. It's got the nice rosy cheeks. It's got a nice smile. It's got a nice little tail at the back. A really small tail, but it's still pretty cute. That's worth a B. Next up, we have Falco. And most of the benefits that I gave to Fox can also be applied to Falco. It also looks like he's ready to use his dash attack to shoot out at you. His gun is in the side, which looks pretty nice. I also like the fact that his beak looks nice and pointy, and he's got a pretty menacing facial expression. Also, I like his boots. His boots are nice combination of black and silver. Overall, I would give him an A, just like Fox. Next up, we have the character Marth from Fire Emblem. I like the way he's drawing his sword, and you can see him still holding on to his sheath, which is a nice added detail. I also like the details on his cape, how it's kind of flowing, and you can also make out the coat of arms on the back of him. Other than that, he's got some nice red mixed in with the blue, and he's pretty solid. There's really no complaints I have about him. A B. Next up, we have Lucina, who's also ready to attack you with her blade. And you can just make out her sheath, which is a nice red color. I also like the way that her cape has a design on the back of it as well. And you can see her hair, which is flowing in the same direction as her cape pretty nicely. Overall, she's quite well designed, and she is worth a B. Next up, we have Young Link. I like how he's carrying his Deku shield, and he's got his Kokiri sword right there. He's wearing his hero garbs. His boots are pretty nice too, and you can see his sheath just there on the back. It's a pretty good amiibo. I like it, actually. I'm gonna give Young Link an A, because I'm not quite sure what else could have been done to improve upon him. And while we're on Legend of Zelda Amiibo, how about Ganondorf? I like this one, actually. He's got a decent amount of intricate detail on the front of him. You turn him around, you can see the same on his cape, how he's got a nice amount of detail there. He looks like he's ready for action, ready to punch you. And overall, I don't know what else could have been added because he looks rather menacing. I'm going to give Ganondorf an A. Next up, we have Mewtwo. Now, I do have to say, this amiibo is pretty simplistic, but at the same time, it spells out Mewtwo. His tail at the back is nice and long. I'm a fan of that. He looks menacing, like he's about to cast Psychic on you. And while he does have a small amiibo stand at the bottom, it doesn't really take away from him as an amiibo. Overall, simple, but worth a B. From Fire Emblem, next up we have Roy. I do like how he's holding his sword in the backhand, that's pretty cool. And I like how the tassels come out from his headband. And they're not really that breakable, so that's good. Also on the back he's got his coat of arms, which is nice. And you can make out the difference between the purple and the red cape. And he's got quite a good amount of detail on the rest of his body. I don't really play as Roy, but this guy's worth an A. Next, from Fire Emblem, we have Chrom. Now, I do like his cape. The cape on him is fantastic, how it flows in the back, and it shows no sign of coming off, which is fantastic. I'm not a big fan of his sheath, though. His sheath does seem like it would come off. But I like the rest of him. He's holding his sword, it looks pretty menacing, his outfit is nice, he's got a small tattoo on his arm that you can just make out. Overall, he's pretty good, and I would say he's worth an A. Next up is Mr. Gaiman Watch, who, I'm going to admit, he looks pretty simplistic. However, he also comes with 3 other Gaiman Watches. One with the hammer, with a 9 above. One with a parachute. And one with a bell. Overall, I'd say that there's plenty of choices to choose from when you have Mr. Game & Watch. So this creativity gets an S from me. On to Meta Knight. I like his purple wings and the way that his wings spread out. They're pretty nice. And it's got the little horn on top of it, which is a nice added touch. He looks like he's ready to poke you with his sword, ready to attack. I'm not a huge fan of the paint job on him though, because I find that you can see some of the black where the silver's supposed to be. And I don't think it's just on my Meta Knight, I've noticed that on a few of them. But other than that, no complaints, and I think he's worth a B. Next up we have Pit. To start off, he does have an amiibo stand at the bottom, a small blue one, but it doesn't really take away from the rest of him as a character. I do love his angel wings. They have quite a nice amount of detail on them. He's holding his blade in a nice threatening manner, and I like the kind of rings around his hand on his little gauntlets. Other than that, he's pretty standard. There's nothing wrong with him though. Pit gets a B. After Pit comes Dark Pit. And I also like the detail on his angel wings. I find it's pretty nice. He's pointing his weapon in a menacing direction. I like his halo as well. And his boots have a nice X-strap on them. All in all, no complaints here. Definitely worth a B. Next up we have Zero Suit Samus, who I like as a character in Smash, but I'm not a huge fan of this amiibo. It's pretty delicate. I feel like its hand can fall off at any second. Even its gun hand seems like it could fall off. The leg is kind of melded into the amiibo stand, and the amiibo stand is quite prevalent. All in all, it just doesn't seem... It doesn't seem like it suits Zero Suit Samus. I would give it a C. Wario is up next, and I like him. You turn him around, you can see the hurry up sign with the bomb on the back. He's got a nice, menacing grin that definitely defines Wario. You can make out the W on his arms, and overall he's got a nice outfit. I like his goggles too. I'd say he's definitely worth an A. I don't have too much to say about this next amiibo. Solid Snake. You can see he's wearing his bandana in the back. He's got his typical outfit. He's got a gun on the side. Yeah, overall, there's really not a whole lot to say. It's Snake. I feel like they could have done a bit better on this one. It gets a C for me. Ike is up next, and he's got a lot of similarities to some of the other Fire Emblem characters. You can make out his sword here, although it's a tiny bit flimsy. If you turn him around, you can see his cape and his coat of arms. His cape is just the one color, but it's still not too bad. A little flimsy. Other than that, you can see his bandana. His outfit isn't too bad, but there's nothing really special about him. But he's worth a solid B. Next up, we have Pokemon Trainer. And I do have to say, he's a pretty good amiibo. He's pointing menacingly, he's got his Pokeball clutched in one hand like he's about to throw it. You turn him around and you can see his nice yellow backpack with a bit of red on it. He's got the Pokemon Trainer hat. No real complaints about this one. I feel like they could have added a female Pokemon Trainer, like just a second amiibo, and that would have been pretty cool. But no complaints on the Pokemon Trainer. I would give him a B. Squirtle is up next. And who doesn't like little old Squirtle? He's got a tiny little amiibo stand, but that's alright. You can make out his shell pretty nicely. You turn him around, the amiibo stand makes it look like he's standing on his tail. So I like that, and he's got his happy little Squirtle smile. Overall, I'd say that he's a B. Next up, we have Ivysaur, continuing the Pokemon theme. I really like the bulb and the leaves that spread out from it. It looks like Ivysaur is about to use Vine Whip, which is pretty cool. And both the vines are pretty sturdy. They're not flimsy. So I like that. Yes, it has an amiibo stand, but it's really tiny, and it kind of makes it look like Ivysaur's in the middle of its attack. And I like the little fangs that you can make out on it. Overall, I never really play as Ivysaur, but not much could have been done to make this better. Ivysaur gets an A. Charizard looks menacing enough. You can barely make out the amiibo stand on the side. I do like his long tail with the flame at the end of it. Looks pretty nice. His wings are spread out as if he's about to attack, and his claws are also out. Overall, he's solid. He is worth a B. Here's Diddy Kong. To be honest, he's nothing super special. Like Donkey Kong, I wish they would have given him a banana or something, or a barrel. I can kind of see what they're going for. He's trying to balance, but not a big fan of it. And there's also a yellow colored amiibo stand similar to Link's, so not sure what they were thinking. And his tail's alright. It's a little breakable. Overall, I'd say I'd give Diddy a C. So those were my personal ratings for the first 3 lines of Amiibo in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Let me know your ratings in the comment section below, and what was your personal favorite? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this or any of my other videos. But most importantly, have yourself a fantastic day. And remember, happy gaming!